Okay guys, welcome back for part 4 of the Kajabi course Kickstarter, where we are diving into all things quizzes. Now, I love using quizzes inside of the Kajabi courses, not just for testing student knowledge, but for helping you onboard your students and also offboard your students if you're wanting to collect feedback on your program. So get some questions ready, get some answers ready, and let's dive into the quiz setup.
All right, let's have a look now at the quiz feature inside of your product. Now, to add a quiz to your course, you could either go to Add Content and Quiz, and it will add it into the module, like the last module in your product. So it's going to add it down here into module 5. Or if you know that the quiz needs to sit in one of your other modules, so you can just come in here to Add Content, and you can choose Quiz from the drop-down beside the specific module. Now, if we click here to add quiz, this quiz feature is pretty new. They've made a lot of updates to it recently, and I think you're going to find it pretty cool to work with. Now, you can come in here and set up all of your questions, and you can decide what kind of question type you want it to be. Now, if it's, if you're testing knowledge, then a lot of the times it's going to be multiple choice or check boxes where people could select multiple answers. Short answer, if you go with this, then they will be able to put in, they can actually put in several lines of text, but it just shows as a single line field. And the other option is file upload if you need them to actually upload a document or an image or something else in there. Now for ours, let's just stick with multiple choice or check boxes, because they're the two types of questions that the system will be able to automatically grade. And you could come through, you could add an image that goes with the question. You could also add an image that goes with each answer. And then for multiple choice, you would decide whether, which answer is the correct answer from the choices. So if I'm just going to go with, let's just change it to true. We'll say that is the correct answer. And you could add an explanation if you wanted to, like this. Or second option being false. So I'm going to say here that true is the correct answer. Then down here, I could add another question. And I call this question 2. And I'm going to say this one is check boxes. And you can see down here, we would need to add however many options. Now you can see with the check boxes that you can mark the correct answer, plural answers, for this graded question. So with check boxes, if you need people to choose both option 1 and option 2 as being the correct answer, then you would say here, in order to pass this particular question, they need to say option 1 and option 2. You could add another one. Now, if you do add questions in that are not multiple choice or check boxes, so something like short answer or a file upload, then it's not going to be automatically graded. You would have to come along and have a look at those answers yourself. And whatever that's going to go in there, you can see a little notification, graded manually. And I think we'll stop there at 3 questions. I'm just going to click save on that. Now you can see here, you're all set to publish, but you have some questions that require you to manually grade them for members. Okay, got it. Tip, change graded questions to a type that can be automatically graded if you want to give members instant results. Got it. Okay, so we're going to, I'll show you both ways, all right? So we'll leave it in there. We've got one that needs to be graded manually. Now you can come over here to settings, and you would give your quiz a name and a little description that goes with it and an image that is going to show against this particular post inside of the course. And then you come down to these interesting settings. So you can decide here what the passing grade on your quiz is going to be if it's a pass grade type of quiz. Perhaps you're just looking for feedback on the course, and it's not a passing grade, okay? You're just asking them to send through their thoughts. So if that's the case, you could switch that off. But if it is something where you're trying to assess how well they've learnt the content, chances are you're going to have it set to a passing grade. You can decide what a pass mark is. You can decide whether or not they get an email after they complete the quiz. You can customize what that email looks like if you click that hyperlink there. You can also set this checkbox here, which is going to prevent members from moving to a next lesson if they haven't achieved a passing grade, which can be quite useful. And then you can toggle this one on, hide answers on results page. So members would be able to, if you have this on, people are going to see whether or not they passed or failed, and they'll see their correct answers, but on anything that's incorrect, they're not going to be able to see what the correct answer was. All right, so if you do that, they're not going to be able to quickly have a look at what they got wrong, see what the correct answer was, and retake it and, pass. Almost like cheating. They'll have to actually take the quiz again and figure out what the correct answers are if you hide the correct answers on the results page. Then we come down here to notifications. So you can send a completion link with their results if you would like to, and that would go to them. And then if you also want a notification to say this student has completed the quiz, especially if you know that you're going to need to manually mark some of the questions, like the short answer questions or the file upload questions, then make sure you check that box there and put in your email address. Let's type that in. And you can add, if there's multiple people who need to get it, just add a comma and put the second email address for someone else on your team who needs to receive these the quiz results. And then down here, you can also set up any automations. So automations that are something like when this quiz gets completed, then it could be send an email, you could add a tag, you could subscribe them to an email sequence. If it is something like when quiz is passed, perhaps you would like to set an automation that grants them an offer. Perhaps you've got some other mini course in your library that you would like to gift them when they pass a particular quiz or assessment. Okay, so you can have lots of fun with the automations down here, and you can base these automations on whether someone completes the quiz, passes the quiz, or fails the quiz. Okay, which is quite interesting there. All right, so let me just go and fill in a few details on this, and then we will take this for a bit of a test. All right, so all I did was I just gave this quiz a name in the settings over here and a little bit of a description and a thumbnail to show beside this particular lesson post in the product. But what I also did was I had a play around with images that you can upload into the quiz. And I wanted to just show you when you upload an image with a question, it's going to take up the full width of the screen. And there's no way that I found to minimize it. Doesn't matter what size image you upload into this block, it's going to stretch it out to be full width. So if you go with something square like this, the image becomes quite large. So I found that the best option for you is to come up with something that is not very tall, more of like a landscape style of image. And then when you click this little preview eye over here, you can see how it shows to somebody who is actually taking the quiz. Okay, so rather than these ginormous images here, I would go for something that is a little more landscape. Now, because we have inside of our quiz, over here, we've got this one's auto-graded, that one's auto-graded, and then this one is graded manually. If you click through and pretend you're a student, okay, you see something, oops, you see something like that, and then they click to start now on the quiz, and they would put in their answers. And answer. And then to submit is actually right up here. It's sort of hidden a little bit, but the top right corner, they will find the submit button on their quiz. And yes, submit. Okay, now you can see here that they're being told that their answers have been recorded. Whoops, I'm just going to make the screen a little bit bigger. Your answers have been recorded. Your grade will be available once your quiz has been reviewed. Okay, and they click close. And, even if they click here to view results, again, they're going to be prompted here that, they'll need to come back and have a look at their answers, at their results once it has been reviewed. So if we come back over here and instead we changed that last question to either changed it or removed it, it's going to take it out. And we will save. Oops, I think I don't even need to save on that. Let's see. Okay, so we've just got the 2 questions there now. And we'll go through and preview again as if we were a student. And they would click and they would take the quiz and true. And I'm going to choose an incorrect answer on this one and submit. Okay, so I'm seeing, I failed the quiz. I can see what the pass mark is. Okay, I need 70% or higher to pass. I only got one of the 2 questions correct. And I can see here, yep, you got the correct answer on that one. Down here, this one's incorrect, and it's not telling me which of these were the correct answer. And the reason it's not telling me is because over inside of the settings, I've asked it to hide the correct option. Okay, so if I was to close this, I could retake the quiz, and I'm going to go with the correct answer on that one, and then the correct answer on that one, and submit. And I can see now I have passed the quiz with 100% pass mark, 2 out of 2 correct. And then again, back over in the quiz settings, I had a little checkbox switched on here that said prevent members from moving to the next lesson without a passing grade. So now that I have passed, I will be able to move on inside of the course and continue with the next lessons. Now, if you had included a question that involves manual grading, so where it's not auto-graded, then once a student has, they've completed this quiz or the assessment, you'll be able to go over to this results tab and you'll see the student's name and you'll be able to click in to grade their quiz. Okay, now when you're just testing it yourself as the admin, your results don't go in here. Okay, it needs to be an actual student result. So if you want to test it in the system, what you would have to do is you would actually have to give yourself student access to this course and then log in to Kajabi as a student, okay, not as the admin, but as a student, take the quiz, and then you could go and grade the quiz for that fictional student, okay? But what I'm going to do is I am going to link up below this lesson to a pretty handy Kajabi tutorial that will just step you through grading an assessment if you have included questions in here that require a manual grade, okay? And I think you'll find the video inside of that help document quite useful. Okay, so this is including quizzes inside of your Kajabi product. And so if I go back over here, it's sitting there at the end of module 1. And don't forget, again, to set it to published once you're ready for it to go. And you can absolutely move it around if you want to. You can even move it out of that module into a different module if you want to. Okay, so you can play around loads with the structure of your course, and there's lots that you can do with it, including that new quiz feature, which I think will be lots of fun. The quiz feature, again, it doesn't have to be used as a pass-fail. You might want to put a quiz right at the end, okay, in module 5, that, it's just requesting feedback on the overall course and, isn't actually assessing their knowledge.
I will be back when we are going to have a look at all the different settings as far as delivering your course content. Is it going to be set up as published so people can work through it at their own pace? Are you going to drip the content or release it on a schedule? Or maybe you're going to lock it based on somebody completing a quiz or perhaps the module beforehand. So you've got lots of different options when it comes to delivering that course content, and that's what we'll get into next.